What is uniqueness? There seems to be a particular narrative in the world which talks heavily about togetherness, collectivism, and putting our differences aside. Even though it may seem as a rather beautiful concept in theory, in practice it is much more troublesome. Community efforts, cooperation, and teamwork are important, but only a community of strong individuals can build a strong and healthy society. In this video, I will address the concept of uniqueness, as well as some of the issues we face that can hinder it. What is uniqueness, and why is it so important? My dear ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my channel. If you are interested in learning about spirituality, mysticism, and want to find out how you can become more enlightened, more confident in your decisions, and more in tune with reality, all the while being less distracted by nonsense, then you have come to the right place. My name is Layla, and I am here to guide you. Before we begin, make sure that you click the subscribe button so you never miss out on future videos. And if there's anything at all that you like in this video, please give it a like, as it helps my channel to grow. So let's get into our topic. Despite what many might believe, togetherness is not the answer to our problems. There is not one pill or solution that will solve everyone's problems because we are all different, dealing with different things. The problems must be addressed on an individual level, restoring the health and strength of each and every person based on their own uniqueness and on a soul level. All systems that attempt to treat its people en masse are bound to fail miserably. The problem today is not lack of unity or togetherness. The problem is lack of uniqueness. This can be seen everywhere. People are sick and unhappy. We don't have to look far in our society to see examples of this. Human emotions and thoughts are constantly hijacked and manipulated, and their constant desire for happiness exploited. We have become so disconnected with ourselves that we will go to desperate measures to fit in somewhere within this world. Men and women spend thousands of pounds on plastic surgeons so that they can look like all the supermodels on magazines, who have previously been heavily photoshopped and surgically enhanced. Recently, with the rise of Instagram filters, which reconstruct one's face shape, the edited images are being used as references for the surgeons to enhance the facial features of an increasing amount of clients, including teenagers. Snapchat dysmorphia falls under the category of body dysmorphic disorder, and is actually a mental illness, classified on the obsessive-compulsive spectrum. And today, it is incredibly common. Almost everyone has an Instagram account with hundreds, thousands, or even millions of total strangers judging what we look like and what we do based on how many likes and followers we have. The online presence is everything. Our words we often hear at work, as most of our business marketing is done on the same platforms as those we share our most intimate moments on. People put themselves in debt and spend their hard-earned money on trends and gadgets and expensive holidays just to keep up with the appearances. FOMO, the fear of missing out, has gripped the young minds in the struggle to constantly keep up. It's a never-ending chase, as even when all of these has been achieved, we are still unhappy, looking for more and more to fill the endless void. There are simply too many instances that demonstrate how far we have moved from expressing our uniqueness. The issue is that we don't know ourselves anymore, and we are too weak to want to find out. We don't believe in our own strength. We no longer want to learn about ourselves. Instead, we just copy everyone else. And so we let the cult of sameness dictate its mantras to us over and over again. We are all one. We are all equal. We are all the same. But yet we are not. We would be completely blind not to realize the many differences between individuals. Those differences are not only physical, but manifested in all of the 4 planes: how we look, how we think, how we feel, and what we believe. But what we cling to instead is the sameness in one another, just so that we don't feel so alone in this cruel world that is constantly being sold to us through the media. The world is a terrible place, and so we must stick together, they say. They abuse us mentally and emotionally, drain us from our powers, and divide us into groups, shoving lies down our throats and making us repeat them mindlessly to others. By hijacking our minds and emotions, this force can stay completely invisible, making us believe that the desires for sameness are ours. But this couldn't be further from the truth. Deep down, we all yearn to express our uniqueness. This is the will of our souls and God. The force behind sameness wants to cut us off from God and our spiritual selves, because without this, we are indeed too weak to face reality. We start to believe that the world has no meaning, and all we are is just a body, the things we do, and that we become more and more useless as we age. When a person identifies with anything but their soul, they become spiritually starved. They become a perfect victim that is apt to a variety of psychological disorders. The person who has lost connection to their soul will feel disconnected with reality and will search for groups that they can belong to in order to solidify their identity. This is only a short-term solution, and a really unsatisfactory one too. For what happens as a result is a person who further disconnects from their uniqueness and places all of their identity in the group. It is obvious that humans have made a mess of our society, and the only cure seems to be to embrace our uniqueness and to restore our connection to God. As much as it is important to support one another, it is absolutely crucial to preserve our sense of individuality along the way. It takes strength to be your own unique self, especially in the times where the main motto is togetherness and we are all one. This is true, but in a much greater sense. It is a concept so abstract to the human mind that many of us aren't able to actually comprehend it in its totality. On the planes on which we consciously operate, we are not one. We are unique. Our quirks, scars, and imperfections add character to our outward persona and are often a manifestation of our personality. Embracing the huge variety of outward appearances is important. Our bodies are beautiful, unique gifts from God that should be honored and appreciated. But what's even more important is remembering that we shouldn't identify with the outward expression of ourselves, because this is not fully who we are. We are much more than that. We are souls with a body, not bodies with a soul. It is simply not enough to get quirky piercings, dress in a bizarre clothing, cover ourselves with tattoos, and change our hair color every month. These things are only superficial manifestations of uniqueness and are barely scratching the surface. We must dig deeper. So what is uniqueness? Uniqueness is the realization and the expression of the self as a divine spark of God, is the identification with one's own immortality, one's own soul. Uniqueness is a force that drives humans toward evolution. It is the golden key that opens the door to our biggest potential. It's the force of nature itself, which constantly wants to create and evolve. When a person identifies with their soul, all aspects of identity associated with the lower planes of existence become irrelevant. Unique people need not search for labels and groups, because their identity is placed in something that goes far beyond any possible labels and words of description. Unique people do not need to put themselves in a box, for they completely transcend any box, and thus feel whole and complete wherever they go. Uniqueness is the realization of one's own meaning and purpose in life. When one becomes aware of their own uniqueness, the need to want to look, act, think, or feel like somebody else vanishes. Unique people celebrate their physical body, nourish it and respect it at all times. They see it as a wonderful gift from God, a beautiful original shell to contain their soul during this life. Whatever shape, gender, and race they have been given upon birth, they humbly accept it and understand that God cannot make no mistake when He places them in the particular body, family, or situation. Whatever lessons are associated with that incarnation, they are learned humbly and with dignity. Uniqueness, therefore, is freedom from all labels of race, gender, color, and class. A soul is not concerned with such things. There's a full acceptance of oneself and one's own physical limitations and the limitations of the current incarnation, paired with a deep respect for the body, which result in a human being that can withstand anything that life throws at them. Through its direct connection to the divine, uniqueness generates strength, resilience, motivation, and inspiration. It is what feeds the mind, heart, body, and soul. So when group identity does not matter, what does? One is left with all this freedom to explore this beautiful world and dedicate their time to things that are truly meaningful. Unique individuals have all their time to participate in the godly act of creation, acting as an extended hand of God Himself. They participate in the evolution of mankind, making it a better place for themselves and those around them. They learn from the world and expand their vision. They discover their passions and pursue them with enthusiasm. They gain knowledge, competence, and wisdom, and are able to provide service to the world that is just as unique as them. They are able to live life to the full, for they are no longer distracted by all the things they are not. Being unique is living according to God's will, taking responsibility of one's life, and knowing that there is a purpose for this life, one that can only be found within one's soul. Without uniqueness, there is no invention, no new art, no new music. There is no inspiration nor motivation. There are no new ideas, and no interesting, meaningful conversations. Without uniqueness, we are left with a spiritless society, with biological robots doing everything as they are told, constantly repeating themselves without a glimpse of their own thought. The uniform world lacks color and vibrancy. It lacks true meaning and is stuck in a state of dull, unbearable inertia, causing disease and spreading pollution. It lacks life and it lacks God. Sameness goes against the force of nature and is therefore doomed for failure, for there is no force stronger than evolution, which is the will of God. We, as God's children, have a choice to align with that force and flourish, or deny it and destroy ourselves in the process. The real FOMO is missing out on your own life, your own adventure. Realize that the world doesn't need another Rihanna or Beyonce, not another Justin Bieber or Brad Pitt, not another Albert Einstein or Leonardo da Vinci, especially not another Karl Marx, and even another Buddha or Jesus. It needs another you. Thank you for watching this video. Please consider sharing it with your family, friends, or anyone who you think might need it. And if you would like to book a one-on-one consultation with me, I am offering spiritual guidance which uses numerology to help to get you on the right path so that you can live a healthy and fulfilled life aligned with God. The link is in the description. I will see you in the next video.